All right, good evening, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank all the participants for taking the time out from their busy schedule and joining in today. So, thank you so much. I know it's a holiday, so Eid Mubarak to all of you. So, it's a very special day for all of us as well because I am joined by Mr. Shankar Sharma and Devina Mehra. आई थिंक शंकर जी एंड देवीना जी आप मैं इतना ही बोल सकता हूँ कि आपकी ज्वाइनिंग से हमारे शो में चार चांद लग गए आज तो एक्सपर्ट शो इससे पहले इतना ग्रेशियस प्रेजेंस कभी नहीं हुआ सो आई बीन फॉलोइंग शंकर जी फॉर ओवर 20 years and Devina both of you and I would say that this is the best occasion of my life that I got an opportunity to interact with both of you together. So firstly thank you so much for accepting our request.
Great. Thank you. We are really honored and privileged to be here with you, Vikas, and
For having us, Vikas.
Thank you,
fun
ma'am.
interacting with you.
Yeah. So, firstly, before we come to the topic, Shankar ji, and I don't have to introduce both of you, but there are few people who may be listening to you maybe when we are putting up this video on YouTube. So, for their understanding, let me have the privilege of introducing both of you quickly. So, Shankar ji did his MBA from Asian Institute of Management, Manila. This was, I think, 1986 to 1988 and then
Yes.
he joined Citibank and he quit Citibank in 1990 and started this company called First Global. And I think 1999 was the first time when you got a membership in. I mean 1999 was the first time that you started setting up your international presence, and
Yes.
2000 was the time you got a prestigious membership from London Stock Exchange, and then you
Yes.
went on and started getting a couple of other memberships like NSDA, US Investing, etc. And
Yes.
thereafter, 2002 was the time when First Global started building a presence all around the world and started recognizing many large organizations. They're so-called unicorns today, and those were the days when they were startups and started covering them and started sharing your views about them. And this is how First Global got the global recognition. And it was the first company from India which went global and started creating buzz around and made India proud, I would say, in terms of the research capabilities. As far as Devina is concerned, last time I had an opportunity to interact with her at Ask the Expert show. That was one of the best show. I think we had more than 650 attendees attended the show, and all of them sort of appreciated the kind of insights given by Devina last time. This time we look forward for the same thing. I don't have to really introduce too much about her, but both Shankar and Devina, they are always ahead of the curve in terms of anticipating and predicting markets. For example, Shankar could manage to predict the crash of 2000 before he participated in 1998 and 99 tech market bull run. Then 2002 to 2007 bull run was well predicted by the group as a house. And I remember 2007 December end or January was the time they both started cautioning the Indian investors and started alarming them that the situation it can go worse from here onwards. And 2008 crash was well expected by both of them. One thing is, this is my observation is, Devina and Shankar, both of you have been very, very vocal about your observations. You're always ahead of the curve in terms of understanding where the trends are going in, as far as the Dalal Street is concerned, or as far as the global markets are concerned. And you are, even if your views are contrarian, you are very vocal about it. I mean, you really don't give damn and don't get influenced by anything except for the data points. Shankarji, I'll come to you first. Let me, before I come to understand more about how did you manage to develop this sort of skill set. The first thing that, I've got a lot of feedback from a lot of investors, and all of them are curious to know your background, because I think you come from very humble background and, come from very small city. So now that I have both of you together, I take the privilege of understanding a little bit about your personal life. So first question is, if you could just take us through your journey from your student life to how did you enter into this industry?
Right. So yeah, both Devina and I are from very small towns. I mean, I'm from a far smaller town. Devina is at least from a state capital, but I come from a mining town called Dhanbad, which is about 4 hours from Calcutta. but वो नाम बड़ा अच्छा था, धन धन. So, right from childhood, you were exposed to a lot of wealth. And I remember the statistic we used to hear is that the largest number of ambassador cars in the whole of eastern region after Calcutta was in Dhanbad. So it was a very wealthy city because of coal. Some of it was legitimate wealth, largely it was illegitimate wealth, but it was wealth. And I grew up with a lot of money around me. Not that I was very wealthy, that or my parents were wealthy, but so एक orientation towards money was there. We were schooled very well by American missionaries with great schooling, probably the best school in India. And then after that, 1981, I think my father died. So I was looking for ways to become rich very quickly because my earning years were, at least 8-9 years away, and I was just 17 or something. And I said, yeah, ये 7-8 साल तो बहुत लगता है. I have to start making some money now, So while studying, how do you do that? So then हमारे घर पे एक टेनेंट होते थे सिद्दीकी साहब करके, तो ही टोल्ड मी कि बेटा तुम मम्मी से 2,500 रुपए लेके आओ एंड पुट मनी इनटू दिस आईपीओ, उसमें पब्लिक इशू बोलते थे, कॉल्ड एशियन होटल्स, तो जो दिल्ली में हाइट रीजेंसी है. सो आई स्टडीड, वो प्रोस्पेक्टस का एब्रिज्ड वर्जन आता था, तो मैंने पढ़ा उसको. मैंने पढ़ा यार, मैंने कहा यार ये रिंग रोड पे आ रहा है, रिंग रोड पे लॉट ऑफ शॉपिंग मॉल्स आर कमिंग, डेवलपमेंट इज कमिंग, और सम नॉनसेंस एनालिसिस व्हिच इज, frankly, in hindsight I was just doing ABCD of analysis. I had no idea what I was doing, but it was a broad macro thing कि Delhi is developing and tourism बढ़ेगा. इस तरह के जो होते हैं स्टोरी, जो आज भी वही स्टोरी सुनते हैं by the way. तो उसी स्टोरी पे हमने जाके ले लिया, 10 रुपए का शेयर मिल गया, फॉर्म अलॉटमेंट, कलकत्ता आके हमने फिल किया, और वो मेरे ख्याल से 150 रुपीज हो गया 2-3 साल में, एंड सडनली 10-15 हजार रुपए बन गए हमारे प्रॉफिट में. So that was a big awakening for me, that I never contemplated it as a career. It was more like यार side में कुछ कर लेंगे. But after doing my MBA, and I had joined HCL in the middle, I was very clear IT did not interest me. मुझे interest ही नहीं था IT में. It didn't get me excited. But in MBA, when finance was really, it was my calling, let's say. And after that, I joined Citi. I was very clear, मैं Citibank भी join करा था 3 साल के लिए. मुझे उससे ज्यादा नौकरी करनी नहीं. I was clear on the day I joined. I was clear I wanted to quit in 2-3 years. मैंने छोड़ भी दिया 2 साल में. And after that, I was lucky कि मतलब right time पे Indian market की जब growth start हुई 1990 से, I at least saw कि यार India 10 साल में एक बड़ा market बन जाएगा. And if I get in now, at least I'm getting in on the ground floor. एंड अगर वो ग्राउंड फ्लोर ठीक निकला तो सभी चल जाएंगे, हम भी चल जाएंगे. एंड फॉर्चुनेटली देन हर्षद मेहता बूम हैपेंड, तो वी वर राइट इन द मिडल. आई वाज आई थिंक 26-27 एट दैट टाइम. इट वाज अ ग्रेट टाइम, आई कैन टेल यू दिस मच. इट वाज अ फन टाइम. We had a party, we had absolute party. We had no idea what Harshad was doing, but we were enjoying whatever he was doing. So अब आज उसको सीरियल बना के लोग ये बोलते वो बोलते, मैं बोलता हूँ यार वो सब बात की बात है. उस दिन तो बहुत मजा आया था. And then it's been it's been a very rewarding journey, and as Devina also likes to keep saying that it is a great way to live your life, meaning the knowledge and the perspective are the real wealth we get out of this profession. पैसा तो आ ही जाता है सब, वो तो कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है, but the real learning that goes out into you, across industries. यहाँ तो लोग 20-30 साल एक चीज करते हैं, यहाँ हमको 20-30 साल में हमने कम से कम 100 इंडस्ट्री समझ ली. वो वेल्थ इतना बड़ा वेल्थ है. मैं बोलता हूँ इसको, इस बिजनेस में एंटर करना है तो उसके लिए एंटर करो, नॉट टू मेक मनी. दैट इज अ बाई प्रोडक्ट. सो दैट्स बीन बेसिकली माय जर्नी, एंड नाउ Bombay is my home. My current bhumi is Bombay, and that's really what we call home.
Sure. So I'll come to Devina. So Devina, we were discussing about First Global's capability, research capability, and I also mentioned that you are always ahead of the curve in terms of understanding where, what is the global trend and what would be the domestic trend. So would you be able to throw some more lights? How do you manage to do so? Because I remember even during 2020, you were the only PMS company which took more than 50% of cash. I categorically remember that. So how do you manage to do so, Devina?
Okay, so because the real thing, as Shankar mentioned, we are an organization that is built on learning and intellectual capital. We've never taken outside capital. So that's been a process that through the 90s, for example, we learned all about Indian businesses. As I was telling someone that I remember once in the 1990s, my flight got delayed and I was stuck at Calcutta airport, and I was sharing a table. They were serving dinner on the ground and I was sharing a table with someone. I said, what do you do? And he said, I trade in steel. So for me, it was like 40 minutes. Let me grill this guy and find out all about how the steel trade works. So that's mental makeup is, and which was also the motivation for going global at the end of the 90s. That now you've understood India, how long are you going to keep trying to go deeper into Infosys and Bajaj Auto, HDFC Bank, all of which you know well. So that was another journey, and which was actually a much more complex journey to understand global companies. So we did that, and we also try to, which is what I drill in my entire team, that think from first principles. Everything go deep. If you're using a formula, know how to derive that formula. If you're using an index, go deep into it, see how that index is constructed. If it's a survey based index, what are the questions in the survey? And once you start to do that, everything becomes clear, which is how what we found, that as soon as we started covering global companies, we could come up with insights which no one was coming up with. And you are right, the other thing is that when you are confident of your analysis, you are willing to put your opinion out there in the world. You don't need to filter it. You don't need to sit in the consensus. Of course, when you talk of the COVID crisis of last year, that did not require a great deal of drilling down or anything like that. It was, in a sense, much more obvious than a lot of things that we have done in the past, because by that time, it was clear that it was a serious problem already, not across the world, but in pockets. Like, I remember first Japanese schools shut down, then Italy shut down, the schools shut down, and you started getting these pictures of all the tourist attractions in Italy absolutely empty, no tourists, nobody there. And of course, through last year, we've become used to it. But at that time, it was a shock. And I remember I had tweeted saying that this has never happened, not during the wars, not ever. So we are in unprecedented territory. We only didn't know how much that would be. So it was clear it was going to be a serious problem, which is why, either we took in our global and India portfolios, we either took insurance or we moved out of equities into other asset classes. So that was, in a sense, an easier call than many other.
I will add to that, Vikas. You see what happens is, आप contrarian, हमको बहुत लोग contrarian बोलते हैं, but मैं बोलता हूँ हम contrarian नहीं है, बाकी लोग contrarian है, जो डेटा के बावजूद उसका उल्टा करते हैं. यार हम तो डेटा देख के, फैक्ट देख के अपना व्यू बनाते हैं साहब. अब आप मेरे को बताइए, in 99-2000 you would have seen the market, what kind of madness was going on. कि कोई आदमी एक वेबसाइट बनाता था, वेबसाइट पर वो खुद ही ट्रैफिक क्रिएट करता था, और उसके वैल्यूएशन नैस्डैक पे और जापान में, टोक्यो में और पता नहीं कहां बिलियंस हो जाते थे. हमने क्या बकवास है यार. मतलब देखो, प्ले एवरीथिंग बट डोंट बिलीव एनीथिंग. दैट इज आवर फिलॉसफी. हमने खेला, हमने अपसाइड भी देखा, बहुत अच्छा पैसा बनाया उसमें. लेकिन आई रिमेम्बर कि इतना वो ऑब्वियस हो गया था गेम. हर दिन 8% स्टॉक चलते थे. आई रिमेम्बर इन माई ऑफिस आई टोल्ड माई ट्रेडर्स कि यार ये तो पार्टी इतनी बुरी तरह खत्म होगी कि हम लोग याद करेंगे बरसों तक. नहीं सर, आप बहुत कंजर्वेटिव हो, ऐसा नहीं है. ये नहीं. हमने कहा चलो देखते हैं. So it is, sometimes things become very obvious, but people, the problem, Vikas, is investors or their fund managers, they think only one mode. हर मोड में attacking shot ही खेलना है. You have to play defensive shots also in markets to survive. That is the key. We like to play offensive. We have made money. This year we are up 40%. But at the same time, we play defensively when the market becomes tricky. That is the key. एक ही स्टाइल में नहीं गेम चलता है इन्वेस्टिंग का. आप पिच को देख के एनालाइज करो, अपने गेम को एडजस्ट करो. So that's the way we do it.
You have to be defensive at times when you play the game, because you have to be on the crease, which is more important.
Exactly. Pavilion मत चले जाओ boss.
But Shankarji, there are some myths or perception around the markets, and why am I asking you this particular question is you've been running your global PMS for little over 6 years now, and delivered more than 17-18% CAGR returns in dollar term, which is pretty remarkable job done, I would say. But there is this perception or myth amongst investor community कि US नीचे जाएगा तो इंडिया भी नीचे चला जाएगा, US चला जाएगा तो इंडिया भी नीचे चला जाएगा. But you and Devina, and I am happy to hear this answer from any one of you. When you handle the global PMS, what correlation do you see emerging, and what diversion you see which takes place, which helps you to take the decision?
That's a very good question. In fact, Devina's presentation is all about that. So I don't want to preempt it, but the fact is, और ये डेटा के साथ 2 मिनट में प्रूव होता है कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता कि एक यूनिफॉर्म बेयर मार्केट होता है या यूनिफॉर्म बुल मार्केट होता है. In every bull market or bear market, there are enough number of stocks and countries and sectors, whether in India or globally, which are doing the exact opposite. And the trick in investing lies in getting into those and getting out of the problematic areas. So ऐसा नहीं कि यूएस घटेगा तो इंडिया नहीं घटेगा, बट यूएस में भी सब चीजें नहीं घटेंगी, इंडिया में भी सब चीजें नहीं घटेंगी. There will be, I'll give you example of 2 days back. Nasdaq fell 2%, right? अभी 2 दिन पहले की बात है, correct? It was a brutal day for markets globally. On that day itself, in the Nasdaq itself, there were at least 20 stocks that we know we own. They were up between 2 and 5%. Now the point is, market कभी यूनिफॉर्म चीज से देखना बंद करना चाहिए हमें. मार्केट के अंदर कई गेम्स प्ले हो रही होती हैं, नॉट गेम्स इन अ नेगेटिव सेंस, बट देयर आर लॉट ऑफ मूवमेंट्स. The whole way we do it is we look for uncorrelated or less correlated areas of the market. जिससे कि क्या होता है कि अगर आपको इन्वेस्टिंग करना, आप जाके सिर्फ नैस्डैक ले लोगे, वो कोई इन्वेस्टिंग नहीं हुआ, वो तो गैम्बल हो गया. बिकॉज नैस्डैक के वो स्टॉक घटेंगे, आप बर्बाद हो जाओगे. लोग होते भी रहते हैं टाइम टू टाइम. ओके, दैट इज नॉट इन्वेस्टिंग. आप नैस्डैक भी लो, at the same time you will find enough stocks outside of Nasdaq to make money. We have stocks in China. I'll give you an example, which are making, but the liquor companies हैं, पिछले 1.5 महीने में 40% वो सब up हैं साहब, more than tech stocks. तो दुनिया बहुत बड़ी है, बहुत अपॉर्चुनिटीज है. आपके पास मशीन होना चाहिए जो उस अपॉर्चुनिटीज को निकाले. So there is nothing called a bull market or bear market. But I don't want to preempt Devina's presentation because her presentation is only on this.
Yeah, so we'll come to the presentation in 2 or 3 minutes. I have a couple of more questions if you allow me. So Shankarji, and this is not a blame or something, but if you allow me and give me the privilege of asking few more questions. Whenever we talk about Shankar Sharma, and I remember I heard you for the first time when Udayan Mukherjee was taking your interview. I think this was 2002 if I am not wrong. And that was the first time when I started following you, and you talked about data a lot, and you mentioned a couple of things. When you talk about Shankar Sharma, there are some perception that is going to be a bear market sort of thought process that Shankar follows. So if you could throw some more lights on, you're very vocal about certain things. So what makes you to do so?
Yeah, so पहली बात है कि I always say that we are neither bears nor bulls, we are hares. Hare का मतलब होता है खरगोश, और खरगोश सबसे चतुर एनिमल होता है पूरे जंगल में. It can run faster, it can brake faster, it can turn faster, and it has full 360-degree vision. That is the way we like to do investing. तो जहां पर तेज दौड़ना है, मतलब बुल मार्केट के साथ हम दौड़ते हैं. जहां ब्रेक लगा के यू टर्न मार लेना है, बाकी लोग चलते चले जाते हैं, हम यू टर्न मार के निकल जाते हैं वहां से सब. सो लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल 3 days, आई मीन लास्ट वीक इटसेल्फ स्टील का पूरा बोलबाला था, सब कुछ था. आवर डेटा, आवर एनालिसिस टोल्ड अस कि बॉस, यूएस विल स्ट्रेंथन द यूएस डॉलर to kill the commodity boom so that inflation doesn't happen, and if that happens all commodity stocks will fall. Last week we exited. आप देखो ये वीक में क्या हो रहा है आपके आंख के सामने में. That is it. So the point is not bull or bear. Point is to be a hare. So I have called every single major bear market, and we as a firm have in the last 20 years. कितने हुए साहब? 3. 2000, 2008 और अभी ये जो लास्ट ईयर मार्च 2020. बाकी हमने 17 साल लॉन्ग होके ही पैसा बनाया है, लेकिन उन डाउन टर्न्स पे हमने पैसा खोया नहीं है, और ना हमने ना हमारे क्लाइंट्स ने. और अगर आप बिग फॉल में, अगर आप -30 के फॉल में -10 रह गए, -5 रह गए, फ्लैट रह गए. 2008 में साहब आवर क्लाइंट मनी वाज अप 106%. 106%. मार्केट वाज डाउन 63%. तो अगर बेयर मार्केट को मैंने देख लिया, परख लिया, एंड आई हैव साइड स्टेप्ड इट, आई हैव सेव्ड 30%, व्हिच मींस 2 year मिनिमम रिटर्न्स आई हैव सेव्ड. बात खत्म हो गई साहब. तो बेयर और बुल होने की जरूरत नहीं है. हेयर बनो, फैक्ट को देखो. अगर मैंने 20 साल में 3 मार्केट को कॉल किया है, बेयर मार्केट, बाकी 17 साल लॉन्ग वे कमाया, लेकिन डाउनटर्न में पैसा नहीं खोया. इन माय व्यू आई हैव डन माय जॉब.
Yes.
एंड दैट इज द वे आई लुक एट इन्वेस्टिंग. इन्वेस्टिंग इज नॉट कि बुल मार्केट में सर गधा घोड़ा सब कोई कमा लेता है. द रियल टेस्ट इज कि बेयर मार्केट पकड़ के आप निकल गए कि नहीं निकल गए टाइमली. क्रक्स वो है सर. इट इज लाइक क्रिकेट में सर, फ्लैट पिच पे सब ट्रिपल सेंचुरी बनाते हैं. पिच थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ होता है तो फिर उस पर जिसने सेंचुरी बनाया, ही इज द रियल प्लेयर.
Sure. Now coming to Devina. So Devina, you as a chief investment officer of the organization, you follow the fundamental approach of, having a human intervention and understanding the businesses with your own wisdom. But when you talk about quantitative investing, and then of late, the both is emerging at First Global. So can you throw some more lights on that as well?
Okay, so what we use is what, we of course talked about it at length last time around, was a human plus machine model. So why do we need the machine? I mean, good question. One is that earlier when we used to do research, and I have done research, I was telling you the very old fashioned way, before equity research was even recognized as a profession in India back from 1993. I have done it that way, gone and met companies around Hyderabad, around Delhi, around Chennai, done all of that. But what has changed from then? One change is that now you can no longer get additional information by meeting companies. And this getting additional or different information was there not just in India, but all over the world. And all over the world now that has been regulated away. So even if you have a conference call, that transcript and that podcast has to be out there in the public domain. So now the thing is different. Now you have data. In fact, you have a surfeit of data. Now, how do you handle that data? And that's where the machine comes in. So machine does a few things. I mean, some are obviously, that you can look at a very vast number of securities. Like globally, we look at 25,000 securities. Right now it would be about 22,000. So that is not humanly possible. You look at every nuanced ratio for those companies and stocks, which again is not possible humanly. But even more than that, what the machine does is it makes it consistent. अगर आपके पास 1000 analysts हैं जो 25 companies देख रहे हैं, that that the 1000 analysts will have different ways of looking at things. The machine is consistent. Even more important, the machine is bias free. If you look at, there are whole books written on human biases, and no matter how careful you are, you cannot eliminate biases from your mind. The other thing is, the more data the machine gets, it learns more. It even learns from its mistakes, all of which is very difficult for a human being. But a human being is required, because what is going into the machine? You cannot just put 3 techies into a room and say, come up with a model. They will come up with a model, but will that model work? Here you have that decades of human expertise, which is what you are coding into the machine, A. And B, there will be things where after a machine has done its analysis, at times a human intervention is required, just as it happened with the COVID thing, or it might be a US-China war, or there might be a border tension, some trade war, or there might be a border tension somewhere. So those kind of things is where you will require some human intervention. So what we find is the best combination is a human plus machine combination, which is not just in investing. I mean, interestingly, let me tell you this, that in chess, there was this famous Deep Blue computer which won against the world champion Garry Kasparov at that time. A few years after that, they picked that same computer against human plus machine combos, which was what? Which was, reasonably skilled chess players with a simple laptop. And that combination of that skilled player with a laptop could beat machine alone. So the human plus machine model, provided it's a skilled human, I mean, let me underline that again, is better than either human or machine. And now with all the data that you need to analyze, if you still remain stuck in the 1990s way of doing research, you are going to be left behind and your investors are going to be left behind. I mean, that's the truth of it.
Understood. So last question from my end, and then we'll run the presentation. Devina, is that, so I heard a couple of large successful investors, when they come and meet the promoters, they are able to visualize. I'm talking about the human touch. For example, Vallabhbhai, when he met Anilji for the first time, he saw that he's very passionate and going to bring something different out of the box. Or maybe there are many examples like that, and there are some checks required, like for example you meeting and talking to vendors of the company. Say, I remember I traveled with one of the fund manager and went to Eicher Motors showroom as to check that what is the waiting period of the motorcycle, and those were waiting used to be 6 months or so. So what about that in current scenario? Do you think that that is equally important, or you think that gone are those days that you require those checks around?
Yeah, I mean, you brought back a lot of nostalgia. We've done a whole lot of these kind of things. But now you realize, almost everything, which is what I tell my analysts also, that every story that you tell about the company ultimately gets captured in the numbers. That if you say that, let's say this company has a great brand, so where does it show up in the financials? Is it in the market share? Do they get higher margins? Are they able to get better terms from the distributors and retailers? So does it show up in the receivable? Because ultimately all of it shows up somewhere. And this whole vision thing, you remember the successes, that where that your call on a vision was correct. But there might have been equally a whole lot of other companies where you might have thought the management had great vision and they did not deliver. So this is all very iffy, and it ultimately then becomes more luck than skill. So I mean, we've had our, so that,
Yeah, sorry. No, Devina, go ahead. I'll add to that.
yeah, so that is really the thing, that what are you really looking for and how are you going about it. And the most interesting thing in this whole machine artificial intelligence journey for us has been that a lot of things which you earlier thought could only be done by a human being, like for example manipulation, that is something we think that only as a human being can you find out whether there's manipulation in accounts. And in the past we have found out, not just for Indian companies, but even like the two big scandals in the US of Enron and WorldCom, and we had written prior to the scandals that where things were wrong in the financials, but and at that time I thought this could be captured only by a human being. But now we find that the machine actually can look at a whole set of factors and come up and red flag manipulation, right from what fees they are paying to auditors, and what depreciation policies they are using, how often these depreciation policies are changing, what is the mismatch between cash flows and profit. So every single manipulation in accounts in every major markets has been red flagged by our system. So that gives us a lot of comfort that a lot of what we thought could only be touchy-feely is actually ultimately still there in the data.
No, let me give a more direct answer to your question. वो डीलर के पास जाके आपको क्या मिल रहा है, आखिर आपको वेटिंग लिस्ट मालूम चल रहा है ना, यही मालूम चल रहा है. अब वो वेटिंग लिस्ट को आप you get to know क्या डिमांड है उस प्रोडक्ट का. इन शॉर्ट आपको यही मालूम चल रहा है ना. Forget this अनिल अंबानी मीटिंग, वो तो ठीक है सर, वो सब कहानियां होती हैं. That has no evidentiary value for a research analyst. Okay, because every Indian promoter is very good in presentation. That much I can tell you. The best in the world. उनकी कहानियां पर अगर चलेंगे तो मतलब आप तो पागल हो जाओगे सर. मैं तो बोलता हूँ ये लोग मूवी एक्टर है यार, ये थोड़े प्रमोटर है कोई. अमिताभ बच्चन के बाप है ये सब. तो द पॉइंट इज दिस. मेरे को अच्छा बाय द वे, मेरे को सारे प्रमोटर की कहानियां अच्छी लगती हैं. मेरे को सभी अच्छे लगते हैं यार. क्या क्या प्रोडक्ट बनाएगा, क्या गाड़ी बेचेगा, उसमें आधे ज्यादा सब रॉन्ग होते हैं. द पॉइंट इज दैट you do not need to be ahead in this game to that extent to make money. ये सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम क्या है, सबको लगता है मैं पहला इन्वेस्टर बनूं जब उसका स्टॉक का मूवमेंट स्टार्ट हुआ। आप चाहे वो बजाज फाइनेंस ले लें, चाहे आप आइशर मोटर ले लें, if the stock had doubled based on good numbers, you are better off at that point buying it rather than being the first guy into that stock, because वहां से भी वो 50-50 गुना 100 गुना हो गए स्टॉक्स। तो आप डीलर के पास पहुंच गए, आपको एक स्लाइटली अहेड ऑफ मार्केट इंफॉर्मेशन मिल गया, आपने ले लिया, बट वो नंबर तो अल्टीमेटली आपको मंथली मिल ही जाता है ना, सारे सारे बाइक के सेल्स। एक महीने बाद वही नंबर आपके पास होगा विद प्रॉपर डेटा, मार्केट शेयर, सारी चीजें मिलेगी आपको। दैट इज डेटा। अब आपने क्या खोया, 20-30% स्टॉक चल गया बीच में, दैट्स इट ना, क्या क्या दिक्कत है उसमें?
Understood. So now I would request Devina to run the presentation. Maybe we have another 10 to 15 minutes, and then we have many questions coming from investors. So it's a small announcement for all the participants. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write in Q&A box, not in the chat box, but in Q&A box. Once the presentation is over, we'll start raising those questions. Thank you.
So, yeah. Thanks, Vikas. About 20 minutes, not 10 minutes. This will take. Achin, can you start the screen sharing?
Please take your time, ma'am.
Yeah. So this was a topic for today, and I thought this was a really interesting topic, which is really to say that is there a way, a system which can create a permanent bull market for your portfolio? Because that's what all of us want, that our portfolio remains in the black and growing no matter what happens. And the first thing which you have to remember to do this is, many times I get this question that India is a great place, it's a growing economy, the future belongs to India, why should I go out of India? And this is just a small statistic that even without looking at other asset classes and equity alone, India is roughly about 2.5% of global equity market capitalization. So why should you confine yourself to only that? And the other data, all of us, our attention remains at either India or US, but the world is much larger. If you look at the best performing markets in 2020, yes, NASDAQ did extremely well, 40% plus, but Vietnam was up 80% plus. South Korea tech index did far better than NASDAQ. Denmark did very well, which nobody would ever look at. India was 21st in terms of global market performance in 2020. In 2019, it was a completely different set of countries that did well: Greece, Russia, Italy, Brazil, and then Russia and Brazil in fact did very badly in the first half of 2020. India was still at the same place, more or less, number 24. So what is the takeaway from this? The takeaway is that the market leadership changes from year to year. The same markets and assets don't do well in every period or every year or even every half year. And if you remain in India alone, between the market and the currency, the 10-year returns in US dollar terms are a CAGR of just about 3.5%. And that too is after this rally for the last few quarters that one saw. Prior to that, just about a year and a half ago, this 10-year return was just not even 1%. It was, and even in rupee terms, if you look at 2019, go back 10 years, the equity mutual funds would not have even beaten the FD returns. So what is again the lesson out of this? That what we call SCAR, that single country, single currency, single asset risk can scar you forever. There is also another related thing. We were talking of equities, but if you look at all asset classes, in India, the range of instruments, securities, etc., that you can deal with is very limited. Now, if you talk of metals, more or less, beyond gold, it's very difficult to do anything. Like, let's say you want to take a bet on electric vehicle batteries, those metals you cannot trade directly. Even basic commodities like silver, oil, etc., you cannot invest in easily. So it's and derivative market is still limited to a few instruments. If if you compare to the depth of the global markets. The range of instruments itself is limited. So let us say we decide that we want to go global. Now the question is how to go global. What is the best way to go global? And the way for most of us, the thinking process happens is that we look at India, we say, okay, we want to go global. So let us buy a NASDAQ ETF or something, or buy a US ETF of some kind, or we buy, the FANG stocks and Tesla and a few other names that we have heard of. That is a recipe for disaster, because a single other country only takes you slightly beyond scars in that you are not in single country, you are in two countries, which is still very, very limiting. So truly global investing means investing across asset classes, across geographies. And why is that important? Then once you see some of the subsequent slides, you would realize why that is important. And as an investment professional, one of the questions one hears very often is, what do you think of the market? Kya lagta hai market? And one is always tempted to answer, which market are you talking about? Because that's like saying that is a giant wheel going up or going down? Whether the giant wheel is going up or go back to the previous slide. So it depends on which passenger cab you are in. Because if you look at all asset classes being and geographies being one passenger cab each, at any time, some of it is going down and some others are going up. And through smart global investing, you can participate in the bull market wherever it is happening, because there is nothing called a bear market or bull market. That's what Shankar was mentioning, because depending on where you are, you can go to the next slide. The simultaneous bull and bear markets in the world, they always coexist. And let me, walk you a bit through history to how those happen. So if we go back to the late 90s, to the Asian crisis, the younger people might have only read about it in the financial textbooks. There was a year when the Asian tigers fell between 50 to 90% in dollar terms. And remember, these were not just any companies. Prior to this, through the 90s, they were considered the fastest growing, the best economies in the world. India wanted to be an Asian tiger. And suddenly there was this disaster because people had not paid attention to a lot of macro numbers. And just as an aside, this was really also the trigger for us going global, because it showed us that even in a so-called good economy, everything going great, if you were exposed only to a single country, what risks you were running. So for us, this was the scar moment when we decided that we should not put all our eggs in a single country basket. But the interesting thing, the point I'm making here is that while these markets were going down 50 to 90%, what was happening in the rest of the world? In that same year, Europe was up 25%, US treasuries were up over 20%. So this was not a uniform bear market. There were places where you could not just hide, but actually make a lot of money. Then, the 2000 tech crash, I suppose most people remember better. And we all know what happened to the NASDAQ, what happened to US equities. In fact, NASDAQ, just to refresh everyone's memory, did not reach its high for another 15 years, till 2015. And of course, US equities overall also halved, the treasury. But while this was happening, the oil, gold, treasuries all had good returns. So if you look at, again, just everyone thinks that you can't go wrong buying the NASDAQ, because this is an example of, I mentioned biases. So one of the biases is recency bias. That as human beings, we tend to extrapolate what has happened in the recent past and think that, quote unquote, this has always happened. But there was a period when actually the US did very poorly. So if you look at 2003 to 2007, emerging market index, the entire index was up 3.5 times. Brazil was up 10 times. India was up 6 times. Even as US, even from that post-crash low levels in those years, went up only 61% and did not take out its high. So emerging markets did well, oil, gold, commodities did well, even as US equity didn't do well. So there are, reasonably long periods in history when US doesn't do well, which we all seem to forget. If we look at from this period onwards till about 2020, the emerging markets were in a bear market, whereas US was in a bull market. Overall, equities were doing well, commodities did not take out their prices of 10, 15 years ago till recently for several commodities. US dollar was strengthening. Then from these trends shifted, which is when we had also revamped our portfolios away from the big tech stocks into commodities, which Shankar mentioned, oil and then steel. And REITs provided good opportunities. Again, off late, some of those patterns are changing and we are again, rebalancing our portfolio, which also Shankar mentioned. And some of the trades again are going back towards the work from home, and also, some of that commodity move is over. So a tactical and intelligent global portfolio means you have to dynamically change your positions and dynamically and tactically change your positions. It's happened a little more often in the last year and a half, but over reasonable periods, this always has to be done. The other thing which we believe in is portfolio insurance, that in times of uncertainty, we are on the side of caution. So we would rather give up a little bit of the gains compared to a risk of a big drawdown. So that is always our philosophy, that risk management first. And we believe in a large number of uncorrelated bets rather than very concentrated bets, whether it is India or our global portfolios. That again remains a cornerstone. If you look at our current allocation, we are about 72% equities. I mean, this is as of June end. Then it shifted a bit. We've cut commodities and REITs a bit. But this was the allocation as of June end. And within equities also, we are fairly well diversified. So not just the US, but also Asia, Canada, Europe, fairly well diversified. And yet, if you look at, just to give you an example of what we mean by dynamic allocation, this is where we were at the COVID crisis time last year, which is February end, where equities were down to a small sliver of 4%. And in 2020, we delivered 36% in our global product, but more than the returns, it is the quality of the returns, because as I said, it came from a very diversified basket, not because we bought a handful of stocks. So this is key, that our returns come from all asset classes. That is key to the way we look at things, and across geographies. So equities, bonds, REITs, precious metals, industrial metals, crypto also at times we've had small exposures. So all of that. And the reason why we say we need a large number of uncorrelated bets is that I will not go into a lot of detail on this, but just to understand the basics, the information ratio is the value added by a manager, which is a product of the skill and the opportunity set. So if you have the skill, if the manager has the skill, then it is better to diversify it over a large number of asset classes and geographies and sectors and stocks rather than a very small number, because that improves the value addition. And overall, as I said, that our concentration is on risk management, which we do by a variety of methods. I'm not going into all the details just now. Right from position sizing to liquidity, market cap, stop losses, etc. And while we have human overlay on the investment side, we do not have a human overlay on the risk management side because we think it introduces only human bias. As I said, we look at 22,000 securities on a very wide variety of factors and invest across asset classes. The next slide, I'm just giving you just sort of the name of all the systems we use. Obviously, this is not the time or place to go into the details, but we look at a whole lot of things right from company level, very, very detailed data, hundreds of factors. We look at how the weights of various asset classes differ from one period to the other. When something becomes very, very low weight, it might be due for a move up. We look at patterns across sectors, across the globe. All of these we put together into, and we do all of this with a great deal of rigor. In fact, recently we were making a presentation to a US tech entrepreneur, and he was just floored. He said that, this level of detail and rigor I have not even, rarely seen even in the US. And I'm just so surprised that somebody is doing it like this here. Because, otherwise it's garbage in, garbage out if you do not maintain the rigor and sanctity of the process. So we have a big R&D team, and we are constantly working on our products. And these are, as I mentioned, since we are taking the onus of dynamically changing the weightages, these are really wealth products where you no longer have to decide what to do. The decisions are taken by the investment manager. And we have two global investment products, essentially with the same philosophy. So both are across geographies, across asset classes. And the whole purpose is that to participate in every bull market, irrespective of which asset class or country it happens in. The fund is, the minimum investment is 100,000, and we have a portfolio product. It starts at $10,000, and I dare say, this is the only product of its kind where, with a very low entry, you can get this kind of diversification and this kind of expertise. And as I mentioned, that you don't have to worry about, because ultimately, otherwise, if you're doing this on your own, how do you decide which geography to go in, when to lighten up on equities, when to increase tech? So that is getting done here. We also have, for people who want it, there are fixed income products also right now available for NRIs, but soon for residents also. So this is the performance of our global products. So it's a CAGR of 15% as against the benchmark CAGR of about 9% or so. For this is for the entire period from 2015 to 2021. Calendar 2020, our returns were about 32%, which puts us in the global league tables in the top 9% by returns and the top 2% by risk-adjusted returns, which was far better than Ray Dalio and Jim Simons funds, Bridgewater and Renaissance. These are our two India products. We have a India Super 50, which is an equity-only product. Typically, we have between 40 to 60 stocks at any given point in time. In the multi-asset allocation product, besides equity, we also have other assets. So that's a lower risk profile. Since we started, the CAGR has been from March, which is the March one, which is 2020, which is the first full month of operation this year. And this is the comparative chart along with all the competition. So the green line on top, that's us. So as you can see, it's not just the return point to point returns, but also how the sharp the down moves are, which will be clearer with the table on the next page. And I'll spend.
Actually, Devina, let me just interject. You can see the massive gap between us and the rest. That is the real thing here is just see the green line and the rest, which is ASK and Motilal and IIFL and Marcellus and Ambit Coffee Can, Marcellus Consistent Compounder. All of them are that cluster you see, and the green line is us. And that is the extent of the difference, which, as Devina said, in the next slide, we will show you.
So if you look at the total return, I mean, that was the CAGR number, that 62%. So if you look at just the 15-month return, that is about 90% for us, as against 42% for the 42 and 48% for the indices. But the interesting thing is that, no one has closed all the other names you can read. Nobody is even close to that in terms of returns. But more than returns, for us, the really important part is the risk part of it. So in spite of having higher returns, our just percentage volatility is the lowest. And if we divide the returns by the volatility, we are risk adjusted return. We are at 4.6. No one is at 4. No one is even at 3. The next one is at 2.5. That is the gap. And the market is at 1.5. So that is really what we are talking about. That for us, this is the number to watch. So it's not just the return. Yes, we are at the very top on returns, but really also the risk adjusted returns, and especially look at the last column, which is gain to pain. What is gain to pain? Here, the numerator is the return, and the denominator is the absolute value of the negative returns in the months where the returns were negative. So if they were, let's say, 3 months where returns were negative, let's say -5%, -10%, -3%. So the returns will be divided by 10 plus 5 plus 3 by 18. So that's how it's calculated. So therefore it is like, how much pain did you have to endure in order to get the return, every unit of return. So for us, this ratio is 4.7. For the market, it is 1.6. Again, no one at 4, no one at 3, no one at even 2.5.
And
So,
these are
I mean,
these are White Oak, Girik, IIFL, Multicap, Marcellus, ASK, Motilal ke 2 fund, Alchemy, Axis, Alchemy. I mean, you name it, everybody is on this list, and the gap is like more than 2 times on the gain to pain, apart from the return itself. And even in this year, current year, Jan to June, you can see the number is 35%. And the Nifty itself, which is it is down here, is Nifty 500 17%. We are beating the market by 2 times. This is despite holding only 10% small caps, because small caps 5 stock leke koi bhi paisa kama sakta hai. The key has been really that we have had now nearly 40% in large caps, 40 odd percent in mid caps, and only 10 odd percent, 15% in small caps. Despite that, these numbers 35%. This year, calendar year to date, is what we have delivered. That's really the key point here, again, apart from what Devina mentioned on the gain to pain.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
If you could also explain gain to pain a little bit more for the benefit of our audience.
I can explain. It's very simple. मान लीजिए there is a 12-month period we are looking at. Okay, very straightforward. It's the easiest ratio to analyze, to understand fund management performance. Sharp and Kalmar and Sortino, वो सब they are complicated for people. Let me explain. 12 महीने का रिटर्न आप देखिए, मगर किसी फंड का 20% है. ओके, सो जनवरी टू दिसंबर 20% फंड ने कमाया. अब उस 20% वाले ईयर में मान लीजिए 3 मंथ उसका लॉस था 3%, 4%, 3%, राइट? तो टोटल हो गया 10%. तो वो 20% फुल ईयर रिटर्न था, जिसके अंदर में घुसा हुआ है 3 महीने का लॉस, जो है 3, 4 और 3, 10%. 20 divided by 10. 20 is the total return for the period divided by the loss making periods. The total of the loss making period, which is 10%. 20 divided by 10 is 2. Gain to pain in this case will be 2. तो मतलब पेन था, पेन के महीने 3 थे और उन पेन के महीनों में आपने 10% लॉस किया, टोटल गेन 12 महीने में आपने 20% कमाया. 20 divided by 10 is 2. It's a very simple, easy ratio to understand. Please ask all your fund managers for this ratio all the time. Always.
So that's an interesting data points which you're furnishing on the table. I'm sure all the PMS investors are curious to know and analyze this going ahead.
Sir, देखिए,
Yes, it's very important to look at, what you have to undergo in order to get the return.
See, देखिए विकास जी, रिटर्न बनने के कई तरीके होते हैं, राइट? आप एक ही स्टॉक ले लो, हो सकता है उसी में आप बहुत पैसे कमा लो, बट वो कोई इन्वेस्टिंग नहीं हुआ. दैट वाज अ लकी बेट दैट टर्न्ड आउट टू बी राइट. इन इफेक्ट इट वाज अ लकी गैम्बल, एंड वी लाइक टू कॉल दैट अ लकी फूल. कि आपने एक दो स्टॉक लिए, वो नसीब से बाजार भी ठीक था, जो भी ठीक था, आपको बहुत सारे पैसे बन गए. दैट इज नॉट इन्वेस्टिंग. Investing comes when your returns are coming at the lowest possible risk, and that risk you are able to measure by the total of the loss making months. That is the risk. Now the other important thing, and this is very important because which you must communicate to all your investors apart from those on this show, is कि कोई भी फंड का सिर्फ रिटर्न ना देखें, आप उनसे ये पूछिए कि ये कितने स्टॉक्स के थ्रू आया था आपके पास में. मेन क्वेश्चन ये है साहब, इफ अ फंड्स रिटर्न्स आर कमिंग फ्रॉम ए हैंडफुल ऑफ स्टॉक्स, राइट? मान लीजिए उसने 50% रिटर्न दे दिया, लेकिन आउट ऑफ 25 स्टॉक्स इन द पोर्टफोलियो 2 में ही बहुत बना, बाकी 17-18 स्टॉक में एवरेज और 5-10 में लॉस. वो कोई फंड मैनेजर नहीं हुआ बिकॉज ही जस्ट गॉट लकी विद दोस 2 or 3 स्टॉक्स. If a fund manager is making most of gains from 10-20% of their holdings, it is nothing but gambling. Nothing but gambling. Please ask this question to all fund managers. Please give us the pie chart of your return distribution. कितने stocks पे ये return आ रहा है आपका? Now in our case, we do this analysis constantly, and on the average, we have 60% winning bets, 40% losing. Losing का मतलब the loss होता है. They will marginally underperform the market. Okay? Now that is 60 versus 10 for the most of the investors. That is the level of differential performance you get through quant investing. And another very important thing I want to highlight at this point is we also look at the data. Your data publicly available hai ki in a certain period, let's say 1 year, how many winning months did you have? Ab at the end of a year, किसी फंड ने 20 दिया, दूसरे ने भी 20 दिया. Are the two funds equal? No. Look at it also from the point कि जो फंड ए है उसके रिटर्न्स मान लीजिए कंसिस्टेंटली आए 2% 1.5% करके पर मंथ, एंड दूसरे फंड का था कि एवरेज पीरियड था, सब में 2 महीनों में उन्होंने बहुत अनाप शनाप पैसे बना लिए, नसीब चला जो भी चला. दैट इज अगेन लक. So these factors, you have to go one step beyond only looking at returns, is what I'm trying to underline here.
So that gives an indication that the fund manager is running the portfolio basis the probability or running high conviction ideas.
So जो conviction है ना साहब, ये बहुत खतरनाक चीज है.
Exactly.
ये conviction बहुत ही dangerous चीज है. मैं आपको I want to spend 30 seconds and explain that conviction is all up in the air. Conviction based on what? And your conviction or my conviction means nothing in the world. What matters is what turned out right. As simple as that. So many people were convinced about Hindustan Lever last year. What happened? It's the worst stock you could have owned, or for that matter, Nestle. My conviction does not pay my bills. Okay, only thing that pays bills is for investor and for fund manager is getting things right. ये रुपए का गेम है. Conviction हो या नहीं हो is totally irrelevant, and conviction in fact is one of the biases Devina has spoken about. When you get convinced about something ना विकास जी, उससे unconvinced करना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है खुद को. इंसान फंस जाता है उसमें. मैं 2-3 दिन पहले हम एक कॉन्फ्रेंस कॉल पे थे जहां पर बिग इन्वेस्टर इन अलीबाबा $320 से फंसा हुआ है. आज $200 का प्राइस हो गया. So they had got a major Wall Street firm to give them analysis of Alibaba. उन्होंने कहा no, we are very bullish. We see 50% upside. तो मैंने सिर्फ एक ही सवाल पूछा उस एनालिस्ट से कि यार एक चीज बताओ मेरे को कि 320 पे तुमने सेल बोला था क्या? नहीं बोला था। अब 320 पे भी बाई था, 300 भी बाई था, 250 पे बाई था, 250 पे बाई था, 200 पे भी बाई है। ये हाई कन्विक्शन आइडिया का अंत ऐसा होता है, बिकॉज आप कभी भी अपने आप को बता ही नहीं सकते कि मैं रॉन्ग हो गया यार। तो बड़ा डेंजरस वर्ड है सर ये हाई कन्विक्शन।
सो कहने
But
का मतलब ये है कि
वो कन्विक्शन और स्टोरिफिकेशन में आप फंस जाते हो, बिकॉज यू नो दैट इज ह्यूमन नेचर। सुनने में स्टोरी अच्छी लगती है एंड स्टोरी हम लोग सबको कन्विंसिंग भी लगती है, बट मार्केट के लिए, बिकॉज मार्केट इज नॉट अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, सो मार्केट डजंट केयर अबाउट स्टोरीज। बट जितनी बार आप वो स्टोरी सबको बताते हो, जितनी बार कहते हो आई एम टोटली कन्विंस्ड अबाउट इट, एक तरह से आप अपने को भी कन्विंस करते जाते हो. And then even if facts change, you can't change your mind, which is why I'll again underline what I just said. Ours is a human plus machine model on investing side, but on the risk management side, it's a human only, it's a machine only model. We don't allow humans to override because it is human nature कि आपको लगेगा मेरा पिछला डिसीजन ठीक ही था, थोड़ी देर और देख लेते हैं, दिस स्टॉक माइट स्टिल परफॉर्म, ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ रीजनिंग यू विल हैव टू कन्विंस योरसेल्फ व्हाई समथिंग स्टिल लुक्स गुड. So I am almost at the end of the presentation. I think only last slide, then we can just take this off and go on to the question.
No, ma'am, yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I think this is Achin. So this is the last slide. So as I said that now you have the access which is normally not available to people at anywhere close to this kind of entry level, or in fact much higher than this entry level also. Okay, Vikas, over to you now for the questions.
Yeah, sure. So, Achin, okay, yeah. So we'll open the forum for Q&A. So there are already 23 questions which are lined up. So I'll start asking one by one. Okay, so the first question is for Shankarji. Please share your views on PSU stocks.
So again ये भी बड़ा एक कहानी आई हुई है और ये हर 2-5 साल पे कहानियां आती हैं. अल्टीमेटली मेरे तजुर्बे में और हमारे राजा राजा फर्म के तजुर्बे में, एंड वी गो बैक टू द 90s व्हेन दीस कंपनीज लिस्टेड, इनमें बड़ा पैसा लंबे टाइम पे तक नहीं बनता है. चुनिंदा 1-2 कंपनियों में बना है लाइक BHEL एंड ऑल दैट, वो भी कुछ टाइम के लिए. बाय एंड लार्ज बिकॉज ऑफ द मैनेजमेंट बाय द गवर्नमेंट and government's interference, government's meddling, and in particular government draining money from these companies all the time. आप पिछले 5 साल में देख लीजिए कितना पैसा इन कंपनियों से निकाला गया सरकार के द्वारा. अब आप इन कंपनियों में पैसा छोड़ोगे नहीं तो बेचारे ग्रो कहां से करेंगे? You take dividend, then the other thing is government expenditure is put on their balance sheet. तो मान लीजिए आपको कोई प्रोग्राम करना है तो आप जाके डाल दोगे ONGC, भैया तुम फंड करो इस चीज को. यार होना चाहिए बजट के थ्रू, वो नहीं करते आप. So all this meddling and hanky panky that governments do all the time, like कल मैं किसी से बात कर रहा था, he told me he's a fintech player. He said 90% of the accounts in Jan Dhan have zero money. And वो PMO के ऑफिस से डंडा आता है तो 1 रुपया बैंक मैनेजर खुद का डाल देता है उसमें, टू शो कि दे हैव बैलेंस. अरे ये सब क्या हो रहा है यार? अच्छा, जनधन का आप इतने अकाउंट खोलते हो, उसका सबका कॉस्ट होता है. देयर इज मैन पावर रिक्वायर्ड टू ओपन कॉस्ट, नथिंग इज फ्री. बट उसमें आमदनी आपकी जीरो है, खर्चा रुपया है. तो देयरफॉर दिस गवर्नमेंट मेडलिंग परमानेंटली इन PSU ओनली टेल्स मी वन शुड अवॉइड इट. देयर आर फार इजियर वेज टू मेक मनी इन द मार्केट. आई कैन टेल यू व्हाई टू टेक द मोस्ट डिफिकल्ट पाथ.
There are 35-40 Jan Dhan accounts, I think, in India.
Yeah.
Okay. Second question is, Shankarji, you mentioned that you may deliver 108% return in 2008 when the market fell down during the crash. So how did you manage to do so?
So we were short the market on our client accounts also, and we had gone short, I think, in the month of January, beginning first week itself, and market fell 60%. And obviously, in shorting, you will make more than what the market returns are. So that's how the money went up by 108%, something like that.
Yeah. Question for Devina. What was this self-drive portfolio basket, and is it discontinued or it's happening, or how is it?
So, I mean, as you know, the PMS accounts can start only at 50 lakhs as per the SEBI rules. So we had introduced something for the smaller investor. Right now it is discontinued, but very soon we will be bringing out a product for people with lower amounts to
No, the
invest.
reason, no, the reason for discontinuation was there were a lot of operational challenges. The
Right.
money has been made massively.
Yes, in
I must
fact.
say, it has done
Yeah.
better than our PMS also. I must tell you this.
Yes. Yeah.
So when we look at the returns on the self-drive basket, you know, Achin, Devina and me, we always say कि इनमें क्या stocks है यार जो हमारे PMS में नहीं है. But they have done 120, 140% from last year. But there were operational challenges. उसमें होता क्या था, because every trade has to be approved by the client as per law. And sometimes there were a lot of delays because clients had not seen the email. और वो 2-2 दिन के बाद में रिस्पॉन्स आता था उनका कि हाँ जी चलो आप कर लो, बट तब तक प्राइस भी अगर 20% 10% बढ़ गया है. So we said कि we need a better mechanism to execute it. Otherwise there is a lot of slippage in our request and the instruction receipt. But now, as Devina mentioned, we have revamped the whole thing through the tech piece, and I think probably in a month's time we will be relaunching.
Okay, what is the minimum threshold for your international PMS if you have to quantify in terms of Indian rupee?
So it is 7.5 lakh rupees. 7.5 lakh rupees, $10,000, 7.5 lakh rupiah for the global PMS. For the India PMS, 50 lakhs. For the self-drive basket, 10 lakhs. And for the global fund, $100,000, which is 75 lakhs.
The self-drive basket we might bring for lower also. I mean, once we
For Indian investors.
For
For the
India.
smaller ticket products, yes. For India.
More on the advisory platform. Is that correct?
Yeah, so those are the things being worked out, but it will come back in a very robust, from a technological perspective, or in a very robust way.
Okay. The thing is, Shankarji, why are specialty chemical companies are so richly valued despite being commodities? And in fact, from today's contest, if you look at how do you see things going forward?
So we were the first to identify this trade in the entire industry back in 2012-13, because the whole industry had been killed by China in the preceding 10 years. And around 2012-13 mein, in fact, it started around 2008-9 when the Beijing Olympics happened, when China cracked down on polluting industries, and chemicals do cause pollution, let's face it. So they cracked down on pollution in the run-up to 2008, the Beijing Olympics, and they continued to do that for the next 3-4 years, so much that a lot of capacity in China was shut down. And that then led that whole business to flow to India and also raise the prices of the commodities of these chemicals. And then the whole journey of this sector started, and those stocks have done, Atul and many other, Deepak Nitrite, and there are many others which are up like several dozens of times in the last 7-8 years time. We were the earliest in that trade. We continue to believe the future is still very, very strong for these companies. And in our PMS, we have owned a number of them. We made a ton of money, for our investors. But it's like the API story, the chemical story is also similar. That a lot of Western companies don't want to depend on China as their suppliers for all these key chemicals and key chemistries. So API is also nothing but a specialty chemical at the end of the day, right? Broad industry dynamic is the same for specialty and API. And both will see a lot of business move to India over the next whatever period, because Western companies don't want a single point supply chain. You have seen the kind of disruptions that have happened. And anyway, China is losing its weight in the world's eyes because of all this COVID. So people want other companies to step up, and Indian companies are stepping up in this.
Yeah. Next question is for Devina. What was the difference between SDPB and Indian PMS? I mean, it's a short form of your product.
Yeah, that's smart basket that you were talking about.
Okay.
So essentially, I mean, we were still choosing from the same pool that what our machine systems throw up. So for both, we were choosing from the same pool, except that, the mix might be a little bit different. So out of that top 60, 70 companies, some would be there in the PMS and some would be, and there would be common ones, and there would be some which may not be exactly common, but the system was essentially the same. And as I said, the difference is that PMS is a discretionary product with a minimum of 50 lakhs. The self-drive baskets were not discretionary, which means every transaction had to be approved by the client, which is what Shankar was mentioning, which was creating some sort of operational issues. So we will come with a more streamlined version of that. But the process and the was exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is that there are far fewer stocks in the portfolio basket because we cannot achieve the same level of diversification for 5-10 lakh rupees. I mean, अब आप अगर not that we buy Nestle, but आप एक शेयर लोगे तो उसमें 19-20 30 रुपए लग जाता है. तो वो तो फिर आप 5 लाख रुपए डाल रहे हो तो 5-7% उसका ही हो जाता है. So there are limitations in the basket of what all high price shares are difficult to put in those kinds of products. So, but we have worked around many things. We will be out very shortly with it.
Sure. The next question is for Shankarji. How many times you have gone wrong broadly?
As I said that our hit rate is roughly 60%. Okay? It's roughly 60%. And that is the data. Again, इसमें कोई छुपाने की बात नहीं है, कुछ इसमें संकोच नहीं है. हम तो खुलेआम कहते हैं that कि around 60-65% we will be right. Maybe 20-30% of the time will be wrong, but wrong does not mean they are losing money. I'm again repeating, wrong का definition है, it has lagged the market. That's all it is. And if you get 60-65% on a long-term basis right, I'm telling you the numbers, that the performance is phenomenal. So all these numbers come with this. Now nobody in the world can go to 80 and 90. वो आप कुछ period एक आध महीना हो जाए, but उसके आगे नहीं हो सकता. But the larger point is, going wrong is no meaning, no problem. क्या फर्क पड़ता है साहब? Even if the stock falls, our risk management is so rigid. 25% नीचे, you're out of the trade. You're out. It is unemotional. कोई दिल नहीं है, कोई conviction नहीं है, कोई कुछ नहीं है साहब. It is a mechanical thing. Price has fallen. You're out of the trade. Where people get stuck, Vikas ji, is they say, अरे यार इससे निकल जाएंगे. अब क्या होगा अगर stock चला गया ऊपर? यही होता है ना. These are the barriers. Our view is that there are thousands of stocks in the world and hundreds in India. जरूरी थोड़े है कि खाली उसी स्टॉक में पैसा बनाना है. ये कहां लिख दिया कि मुझे सिर्फ एक ही स्टॉक में कब कमाना है? There are 20 other stocks. So the point is, for us, losses don't matter. It is, we accept it as part and parcel of investing. It is like कि आप क्रिकेट खेलने निकले हो तो बॉल तो लगेगा ना सर पे, बॉडी पे. क्यों उसमें उस पे डरने की क्या बात है?
Just couple of things I'd like to add to that. One is that when he's talking of this, let's say a stop loss of 25%, then it is not from the price at which we purchased it. If in between it has gone up, let's say we bought at 100, it's gone to 150, so it's a trailing stop loss. So 25% from 150, not from 100. So as long as you are making much more on your winners than whatever you've lost on the stocks that you've lagged, you will still come out much ahead on a risk-adjusted return basis. So that is the important thing.
Sure. Next question is for Shankarji. Which portfolio is better, multi-asset or IS50?
It depends on your risk appetite, sir. So in a bull market, IS50 will do very well, obviously, because it is 100% equity. But many investors are conservative. Now IS50 is 100%, the IMAP, which is multi-asset, will be between 60 to 75% in equities. The other asset classes in IMAP will be less volatile. तो उसमें होता क्या है कि you're capturing most of the equity returns, at the same time you're reducing the volatility of your returns. So for many investors, especially जो थोड़े let's say 60 पे पहुंच जाते हैं, who say यार मैंने पैसे बना लिए अच्छे खासे, now I don't want to take 100% equity risk. I'm happy with 75% equity risk. For them, that product is relevant. But people in their 40s, when they come to us, they always opt for IS50. Because they say that we are young, we understand risk, we are happy to embrace and take that 100% equity risk.
Devina, you are the only PMS house in India which has this insurance thing. Can you throw some more lights for the benefit of our viewers before they invest money? A. And B is, when you have insurance, this is well protected. So my observation in your PMS is you already pay a lot of attention towards risk management, which is the paramount always. when it comes to First Global while managing public money. And then you have IMAP. So don't you think that it becomes too conservative at times, the IMAP? Over to you.
No, see, IMAP is different. IMAP is equity plus other asset classes. Insurance, when we talk of whether it is IS 50 or IMAP, is only on the equity piece. So whenever we feel that the risk of it, things going down is high, we place ourselves conservatively. At times, it would mean, just as it has happened in this first 6 months of the year, we have taken insurance at various points of time. And because there's been no sharp fall, the insurance has gone unused. But we don't consider it a waste. It's like buying health insurance. You don't think that, health insurance liya tha is saal, hospitalized to hue nahi, so insurance has gone waste. That's not the way to look at it. We are only positioned that if and when there is a sharp fall, our investors should not be hit by that sharp fall, as happened with many mutual funds and PMSs last year when there was that sharp fall and the investors took that 30, 35, 40% hit. So that is what insurance is for, and we are willing to pay that cost for that.
No, but his question is different, Devina. He is asking that why should anybody then do IMAP when you're taking insurance already in IS 50, if I understand correctly?
Yes,
Because
yes.
that's the question. Yeah. So they're very straightforward. It's a very good question. Actually, a very, very sensible question. I must compliment you on that question. The reality is that people at a certain age group want even more protection than a mere 75-25 split between equity and fixed income will give you. Because होगा क्या? मान लीजिए totally unprotected hai and market falls 30%, then that 75% will be down 21%. So it is still a significant loss. It's not that you will escape without any protection or anything. People say कि मुझे वो दिन नहीं देखने हैं. So please, give us that diversification. But and ultimately, if you do this right, it is not that you are spending 5-10% in terms of insurance. You will be spending, 1 or 2, maybe 3% at the right time when volatility is at the right level. There is a lot of judgment and science involved. But done right, there is not much return give up that you do. It is well worth it even in IMAP. It is not that it should be only for 100% equity portfolio.
Even in your global PMS.
Yes. No, global PMS we cannot do
We are
that.
not in the PMS. Not in the PMS because we are not allowed to.
In global PMS, let me clarify. In global PMS for Indian residents, we cannot do that. For non-residents, we can do that because Indian LRS regulations do not allow any derivative product to be purchased. But for non-residents in the global PMS, we do that. There's no problem.
And in the global fund, we do that.
Another interesting question is, can you explain return to volatility? I think this was explained.
What is that?
Yes.
Sorry, what is the question?
Return to volatility. I think there was one ratio which was used.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was, we had those two columns, one giving the returns and the other the volatility, which is the standard deviation. So that was the that returns divided by the volatility, by the standard deviation of the return.
Explain what is standard deviation of volatility. That's I think what the question is.
Yeah, if you could explain, this is for our investors to know, and at times they don't have too much of technical understanding, ma'am. So if you could make it in simple terms for their benefit of understanding.
Yeah, I'm just thinking how best to explain it. Achin or Shankar?
Yeah, I can take that.
I can explain that. It is very simple. आप एक क्रिकेटर के टर्म्स में देख लीजिए इसको कि एक प्लेयर है, दो प्लेयर हैं, दोनों के 250 रन बने एक सीरीज में, 5 टेस्ट थे. एक ने 50 बनाए, राइट. एवरेज उसके पास भी 50 का ही आया. एक ने 4 में 0 बनाया और एक में 250 रन बना दिया, राइट. एवरेज दोनों के 50 है, टोटल दोनों के 50 हैं. अब प्लेयर कौन सा बेटर है? Which player you want in your team? Obviously player A, जिसने 50 बनाए, correct? That is because his standard deviation, मतलब कि उसके एवरेज जो था उससे अप एंड डाउन का जो मूवमेंट है वो उसका in this case, it's a simplified case, was 0. while the other person had 4 zeros and 1 250. Right? So, uska standard deviation, which is the deviation around the mean, was extremely, wide, meaning that ki 4 mein 0, 1 mein 250, which means he's a very volatile player. It's like, let's put it this way, I don't want to take names, there might be Viren Sehwag fans, but Viren Sehwag is a very good example like this. वो ऐसे ही खेलते थे. Dravid was the 50-50-50-50-50 guy, right? So that is what the meaning of volatility is. एक आदमी steady खेलता है, रन उतने बनते हैं, एवरेज भी सेम होता है, लेकिन volatility उसकी बहुत लो है. दूसरे की volatility बहुत high है, despite the end result on paper being the same for both. So दोनों का रिटर्न 250 था, बट एक की वॉलिटिलिटी बहुत कम थी, दूसरे की वॉलिटिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा थी. रिटर्न डिवाइडेड बाय द वॉलिटिलिटी, व्हिच इज हाउ मच अराउंड द मीन आर यू डिविएटिंग, इज व्हाट इज दैट मीनिंग ऑफ दैट रेशियो, रिटर्न डिवाइडेड बाय वॉलिटिलिटी और स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन.
Achik, may I request you to put up that slide, because there are a lot of questions around pain to gain and gain to
Right.
gain. So rather and the
Achal, can you explain it even more simply than I tried to?
No, I think I couldn't have explained it better. I mean, I can draw another real world analogy. Think of it as if you are trying to fly from city A to city B. You are taking an airplane. Okay. In one of the flights, the plane flies very smoothly. There's no movement. It's a very smooth flight. But in the second flight, there's a lot of turbulence. So think of volatility as turbulence. People don't like turbulence, although eventually we know we'll get to our destination. If both the flights are taking you to the same destination, one of them is doing that with lower turbulence, you'll enjoy the lower turbulence. Similarly, when it comes to investing, if two funds are delivering the same return, the one which is doing it in a much more smoother way, the investors will have a smoother journey, will have a more pleasurable experience, and very importantly, there is a greater probability that you'll stay in the game. What happens in a volatile performance is there is a chance that people might drop out. They will not stay in the game for long enough to enjoy the long-term compounding benefits and all of that.
Yeah, Chin, just put up that slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Achin, if you could just put.
Yeah, this is the one.
Can you just blow it up a bit, Achin? Is it possible?
Yes.
Shankarji, can you run this slide if you don't mind, for the benefit of our investor?
Right. Okay. बहुत simple है. I'll just keep it very simple. So this is like the returns for calendar year. First column अगर आप देखेंगे, which is I'm not the first column. Let's say it's actually technically the third column. Calendar year to date returns. Yes. Jan to June, we are at 35.21%. These are all returns after all expenses and fees. Jan to June, and July is also again another 4%, so around 40% hai. But anyway, let's stick to Jan to June. 35.21% is us. Stallion is next with 22. White Oak 20. Girik is 27. IIFL Multicap 15. Marcellus Consistent Compounder is the worst of the lot with only 8% return this year. It has lagged the Nifty itself by 50%. IIFL Multicap 17, ASK IEP, which is their flagship fund, 15, ASK Growth 18, Axis Brand 11, Motilal Anti-Dop 16, Motilal BOP is only 9%, ASK India Select 14, Alchemy Select is 23, Alchemy का एक और है, which is I can't see that. What is that number? 9%. So these are the returns achieved till date this year. Next column में अगर हम जाते हैं साहब, तो वहां पर आप देख लीजिए, very important. So we started in late February and we ran into COVID. So we have normalized everybody to March 1 because we don't have the data for everybody from the date hours, I think फरवरी 20 या 22-25 को जो भी स्टार्ट हुआ था, तो हमने स्टार्ट डेट मार्च 1 ही लिया बिकॉज हमको उनका फरवरी 22 से डेटा नहीं. तो फ्रॉम इक्वल स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट मार्च 1 2020 till June 2021 we are up nearly 90%. Stallion is up 68%. White Oak is up 54%, Girik is up 53%, IIFL 46%, Marcellus is up only 39%. Again, you can see the difference is more than 100% between us and Marcellus. ASK is only 37%, ASK growth is only 35%, Motilal is only 33%. That is the anti-DOP. Motilal BOP is 32%.
And all of these are actually below the benchmark also because
हाँ,
the
benchmark
market
नीचे
is
में दिया हुआ है.
48.
But basically, these are all below the benchmark. ASK India Select is only 28. Alchemy is 28%. Alchemy High Growth, I don't know why they call them that. When in 1 year they are up, 1 year and 4 months they are up only 16%. So you can see the vast gap between us and the rest. मतलब कि frankly speaking, इसको gap बोलना भी actually is an understatement.
In fact, only 3-4 have even beaten the market.
Exactly. Only up to the point of Girik have the people beaten. After that, everybody is underwater. Everybody, right from point number 5, the row 5 downwards, everybody has lagged the market. I'm talking the major multi-cap funds. And then, agar aap towards the right jaye, which is that volatility number. So 19% and all that, you can see that. Devina ka wo actually face are out. So you can see our volatility is extremely low at 19%. Rest everybody is 26, 22. One more 19 IFL multi-cap is there. Then there are all in the 20s, 29, 28.
And
20.
actually, normally volatility you have to see in relation to the return.
Correct.
Even without adjusting for that, we are at the lowest end.
Correct. So we have the highest return with the lowest risk. That is the way to look at it. So, and then the next column basically divides the return by the risk. Risk is equal to volatility. And that ratio you can see is again 4.6 for us and 2.5 for the next 10. Rest, so they are down to 1.7, 1.19, 1.2, 0.85. In fact, people who are down below 1 and or around 1 means कि actually तो आपने कुछ किया ही नहीं, जितना risk लिया उतना ही return बनाया. And जो below 1 है साहब, उसमें तो उल्टा है ratio कि risk ज्यादा लिया और return कम बनाया. So actually this ratio should be positive by a substantial margin. मतलब कम से कम 1.5 गुना, 2 गुना, 3 गुना तो होना चाहिए, because otherwise आप 1 रुपए का रिस्क करके 1 रुपया कमा रहे हो, उसका मतलब क्या बनता है साहब? और कई लोग तो 1 रुपया रिस्क करके 85 पैसा कमा रहे हैं, as you can see towards the bottom. हमने अगर 1 रुपया का रिस्क लिया है तो our number is how much is it at the top, Achin?
4.63.
हाँ, हमने 1 रुपए का रिस्क उठाया है and we have made 4.6 rupees. Now that is the risk reward that people understand. आपको all the people on this group can see on this show can understand in 1 second कि यार कितना रिस्क उठाया है, कितना रिटर्न बनाने के लिए. अब हर रिटर्न के पीछे रिस्क तो है ही. There is nothing called risk free return, at least in equity market. Correct? बट अगर आपने 1 रुपए का रिस्क उठाया, 85 पैसे रिटर्न दिए, तो यार फिर उससे अच्छा तो मैं ही घर पे बैठे कर लूं ना, फिर किस बात का मैं फी देने वाला हूं किसी को. And gain to pain I explained, which is the next column, is that which is another better, easier way to look at it. Ki what is the sum total of your loss making months and you divide your total return by the total of your loss making months. तो जैसे हमने 89% कमाया है उस पीरियड में, that divided by our loss making months. So in some months we would have been -1% or -2% or whatever it is. उन सब का total हम करते हैं. We get 4.7. The rest are less than half, and it just dwindles sharply as you go down the list. So that this table is the Bhagavad Gita of PMS industry. इसमें सारा कुछ आ गया साहब. इसके आगे what one needs to say, and this is not coming out of magic. This is coming out of process. We always say this, Vikas ji. Please don't look at performance. Look at the fund manager's process, because process से ही performance आता है. और अगर process is driven by his high conviction, his belief, मुझे अच्छा लगता है, ऐसा vision है कंपनी का, अनिल अंबानी is very good ना, उसका अंत बुरा ही होने वाला है. I can tell you, we have done a lot of that. We speak from experience.
Right. So last few questions, Achin, you can turn off this presentation. We'll have few last questions and conclude the session. So another question is, irrespective of my risk appetite, which one should I go for, your Indian PMS or global PMS? Any one of you can answer.
I don't think you should make a choice. If your investable surplus allows you, you should always not put all eggs in one basket. ये एक गुरु मंत्र है इन्वेस्टिंग का साहब. मैं तो यही बोलता हूं कि अगर भगवान भी अपना शेयर आईपीओ करेंगे, लिस्ट करेंगे, तो मैं सिर्फ वही शेयर नहीं लेने वाला हूं. मैं तो कम से कम 10 शेयर लूंगा, 20 शेयर लूंगा, 50 शेयर लूंगा, मैं एक नहीं लूंगा, बिकॉज दैट इज बीइंग अनवाइज. So if all your money is in India, and let's face it, we are Indians, our natural market and home market is India. हमारा बिजनेस है, हमारा घर है, व्यापार है, नौकरी है, चाकरी है, सब कुछ इंडिया में ही है. वो तो ऑटोमेटिकली वी आर ऑलरेडी इन्वेस्टेड इन इंडिया थ्रू वेराइटी ऑफ मीन्स. Global, you must put a certain amount of money consistently abroad. Put money in the Indian product also, so that you are not missing out on the India story. But there are good stories across the world also. It's not that India is the only story. So I only say this, please diversify across India and global, and with us you get both under one roof. Main चीज क्या है साहब, एक जगह में you are sorted. बाकी जगह में क्या होता है कि सर उसने फंड लिया आपसे और किसी और को दे दिया न्यूयॉर्क में मैनेज करने के लिए. अभी साला वो आदमी क्या कर रहा है, नहीं कर रहा है, बीच का जो आदमी है, ये एएमसीज भेजते हैं, कोई जवाबदारी नहीं है. गलत सही यहां पर वी आर स्टैंडिंग ना, वी आर हियर. We are facing the world. We can answer any question. Why you have done this? Why this strategy is there? Why you have not done this? We are answerable to people. So under one roof, India best product in PMS and globally best product in global. You get at only one place, and that is First Global. So don't make choices between the two. If money allows you, please do both.
Okay. Next question is for Devina. You run your global PMS. And there is a sort of concern or risk coming from USD depreciates against INR. So, what is your views on that?
See, over a long period, I mean that in a shorter period, you can call it a risk. But if you look at a very long-term trend, it doesn't appear to be much of a risk. And as it is, you have enough of your investments in INR. It is not as if anyone is putting, all the savings they have in US dollar. And overall, if you look at, as I said, the long-term trend, it has the currency movement has hurt you, which is why the dollar return, if you look at 10-year compounded for the Indian market, is as poor as it is, in spite of a very good recent run.
No, let me add to that. It's very simple. There is an inflation differential between the West and India. We all know that. वहां पर 2% है, हमारे पास आप 5% बोलो, 6% बोलो, जो एक फिगर बोलो, but 2% तो इंडिया में आज तक ना कभी हुआ है ना शायद कभी होगा. So the rupee will basically mirror the depreciation differential, the inflation differential between the two baskets, and therefore you will get a long-term depreciation of the rupee of around 3%. बॉल पार्क हर साल नहीं होगा, लेकिन ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम आपको 3% एनुअलाइज्ड लॉस होगा ही होगा इन द रूपी वर्सेस द डॉलर बिकॉज ऑफ द इन्फ्लेशन डिफरेंशियल. एंड दिस इज द डेटा. अगर आप 1970 से जाके देख लीजिए आज तक, ओके, लाइक नियरली 40-50 years ऑफ हिस्ट्री, यू विल सी द सेम डेटा. कभी 2%, कभी 3%, कभी 5%, कोई साल में 10%, बट लॉन्ग टर्म CAGR इज अराउंड 3.5% एनुअल डेप्रिसिएशन, which is what you will get 100%. लिख के ले लीजिए, 5 साल के बाद में आप इसको 1.33 से आप मल्टीप्लाई करते रहना, अपने कंपाउंडिंग कर लेना आप इस फिगर को.
Yeah, there is another question. In fact, the gentleman has already signed up for the PMS recently through us and only. He's asking that what is the prospect for someone entering now in your PMS because markets are at all-time high?
Yeah, that's a good question. We hear that a lot, Vikas ji. The question is very simple. In fact, one other client, who had withdrawn money from a lot of these funds, PMSs, and put money with us in, I think, February, March, obviously is happy, but that's not the point. we will also have, average period. It's not that we are God or anything of that sort. We'll do far better than anybody else on a consistent basis, but we'll also have average period. That is part and parcel of investing. Okay. But the point is that markets having run up does not mean that markets have finished all opportunities. What is the maximum that can happen? Market can correct by 5%, maybe 7%. यही होगा, right? अब चाहे तो आप उसको टाइम करिए बैठ के, या you let us do that job. Choice is with the investor. But in India, I can tell you right now, the way we see it is that it is coming out of Vikas ji 6-7 years of very poor returns. आप last year छोड़ दीजिए. Last year is one outlier year. But उसके पहले 2013-14 से लेके 19 तक तो आपको हार्डली एफडी रिटर्न भी नहीं बना इंडिया से, राइट? ये अभी स्टार्ट हुआ है ये मूव. Yes, it move does not mean कि it will 100% keep giving 50% every 6 months. It may or may not be exactly like that. But it is not a thing that will just overnight collapse or overnight slow down. We are looking at a correction and being absolutely transparent with you. And that is one thing we believe in, boss. Ki please talk straight. Don't talk nonsense. Don't talk circular. There can be a correction. Let us be clear about it. But that correction, we will play better than other people. So as investor, you must participate. We will keep participating even in down markets because we think that the future looks very good for India. It looks good for global equities also. Because at these interest rates, you will make money. No doubt about it.
The next subsequent question is, so what is the deployment strategy? You put everything overnight, or you leave it on the fund manager to decide? Or the client can also give instruction from liquid to equity? Or
so we actually can do all. Typically, in large amounts, we don't put it immediately. By large amount, I say 4-5 crores. If somebody put in 20 crores also. We stagger it. In fact, for the 20 crore, gentlemen, we put like 1 crore over 20 days. Okay. But in 50 lakhs, it is not possible. Then it has to go together. Otherwise, वो splitting होता नहीं है साहब. But for amounts running into multiples of crores, we will do it over 2 days, 4 days, 5 days, 10 days, 15 days. That is one. We normally don't take client instructions, but like we said, we are open to hearing your point of view. If you tell us कि no, मुझे हर दिन आप इतना divide करके डाल दीजिए, we will do it. There is no problem at all. We can do that too. Yeah. But typically large amounts हम एक साथ नहीं डालते.
Yeah. And other question is, how is your insurance being taken out? Is it only by way of multi-country, multi-asset, multi-currency allocation, or it's an insurance policy or something? I think the insurance that we talked about, somebody wants to know more.
Yes, it is both. It is both. So one level of insurance is the level of diversification we achieve, which is we have equities, not just US, but we have emerging. In emerging also, we have multiple countries which are, and these are all selected. This is not blindly done. There's a lot of science that goes behind each single position that we own. Then we have real estate investment trusts, REITs, which are very good income yielding, securities. जहां पर 6%, 7% yield भी मिल जाता है हमें. Then we have fixed income, emerging market bonds, and other bonds where we can get 4%. So the pie chart is, as I think Devina showed you also, how we were positioned. So maybe 70-75% will be equities, 20-25% will be all this. So that is one level of protection. Second level is that on the equity piece, if there is excessive risk that we see, we will hedge by taking put options on the relevant markets. Okay. But this is not done permanently because then the cost is too much. So we will do it at the right points when we think there is huge risk. So what is the worst that will happen? We have taken insurance and it's normally 1 month, 2 month, 3 month insurances we will take. Market does not fall, market goes up. So that insurance of 0.5% or 1% is wasted. Fine. But we have made 5% on the way up. No? So what is the problem in that? So the insurance policy works at both levels. Diversification across asset classes, across equity markets. And at the second level, at certain point, we will take the put option strategy, which is called TIP, which is tactical insurance for portfolio protection.
Next question is for Achin. Achin, you have a presentation where you have both the performance shown in one particular site, global and Indian PMS, with the historical return.
You want the global and the Indian performance
Yeah.
side by side?
So it's a question from one of the investor. He wants to see both. So
Yeah.
how old is the global one, which is I think 6 years old?
Yeah, I can show you the performance of the
Yeah,
global.
we can show.
I think so. We've taken a good amount of time. So we'll after this slide thing, we'll. So I mean, Shankarji, I mean, there are a lot of questions coming from investors. So so it was important to answer them. So hence, we have taken more time than what was expected.
No, it's a pleasure, absolute pleasure. It's our honor, to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is the global performance, which is 2015 onwards, and we are and obviously since we do not run 100% equity positions, our benchmarks are the Bloomberg 80-20 index, which is 80 equity, 20 fixed income and other assets or alternates, and 60-40 also, because we normally oscillate between these equity allocations. We rarely, if any at all, go to even 90% equity, because there are risks involved in that strategy. The volatility most investors cannot accept. So most people want the returns of equity, but they don't want the risk of equity, which is why we keep a broad 75, 80, 85% equity allocation, balance coming from other kinds of asset classes like REITs and fixed income and commodities and all that. So these are the returns. We have a dollar return of 15%, which is phenomenal by any standards, compounding over now 6 years. Last year was 32% up. This year, as we speak, we are about, I think, 8%, 7 or 8% up, again in dollar terms. The benchmarks are around the same, 8 or 9%. Emerging market has been a laggard this year. They are down, they are up only 2%. Developed is up 12. So we are somewhere in the top 25% of the return spectrum, again, while not running 100% equity positions. So actually on the equity, we are actually, a little bit ahead of 10 or 12%, but we damped down that performance through the use of other instruments. So global has done very well, continues to do well. And agar India to humne abhi dikhai diya tha. If you want, we can show it again. So India obviously started last year, when it was happening, we had started and COVID hit us. And I was telling Achin at that time, we will look back on this period that this was the best possible time we could have started. Because this has given us the ability to demonstrate risk management. ये हमको एक live example, वरना तो सब theoretical लगता है ना साहब. But we have been around 30 plus years. We have seen brutal bear markets. See, again, I say, your fund manager must have put his own money to risk. तभी समझ में आती है चीजें. दूसरे के पैसे में तो सर सबको आसानी से काम कर लेते हैं. खुद का पैसा हमने लगाया सर 30 साल. बहुत जोखिम उठाया है, बहुत टेंशन लिए हैं और उन गलतियों से सीखा है. We have learned from our mistake, gone back to the drawing board. कि why did we make this mistake? What was faulty in our process? ये 30 years की journey है. ये 30 months की नहीं है. So this wisdom was not born overnight. हमने भी बहुत tuition fee भरे हैं market को साहब. और hard cash भरा हुआ है. So these numbers come out of that experience. When last year COVID was happening, we enjoyed it. We loved it. In fact, my tweet was, I don't have it right now. I tweeted a few things around that time. One of the tweets I did, Vikasji, was that I don't know about all of you people, but we have enjoyed it every single minute of the month, which is March. Because we have been in a ring with a brutal fighter, but it has given us the chance to prove everything that we have learned over decades of investing experience. So ये तो आपका एक test हो गया ना साहब. So we loved it. And on March 23rd, I tweeted that I think this is the beginning of a big rally. Whether it is bear market rally or bull market rally, I don't know, but it is going to be a big rally. So these performance numbers come out of a lot of experience and a lot of gray hair.
Yeah, so you can turn off the slide, Archin. Thank you so much. One feedback and one question. So last question is from Devina, for Devina. What are your management fees and hurdle rates? One of the client wants to know. So I said
that I think Vikas, you can
we can
provide.
offline.
Yeah. we can share the details. That's not a problem. It is
Yeah,
not
I mean,
sitting
as long as the email address, if you give, that we'll share
Yeah,
that.
I'll share it. I'll share it.
Yeah, Vikas can share it. No problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one last feedback from the client is invested in both the PMS, Indian and global PMS. And he's saying that I'm happy to be a part of the investment process. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's really
That is the
gratifying
real
to
wealth.
hear.
That is the real wealth.
And he has tweeted
Right.
also. So
What?
yeah, he has tweeted also 2 months back.
Okay, great. No, this is ये real कमाई विकास जी. हम ये कोई ये 1-2% कमाने के लिए नहीं करते हैं सर. अपने को भगवान का बहुत कुछ दिया हुआ. देवीना, by the way, in 1996 was one of India's top 50 individual taxpayers. 1996. तो सर भगवान का पैसा तो हमको बहुत पहले आ गया था. This we do because we genuinely love doing this for the benefit of people. Really speaking,
Passion, yeah, clearly.
it is
In fact,
passion.
Vikas, I mean, what this reminded me of, my parents are both professors, and my father always used to say कि जो students से मुझे प्यार और regard मिलता है, that is my real wealth. So it is really the same thing, that the people who invest with us are happy and satisfied. That is the real wealth.
Absolutely. I can see that, and thank you so much once again. So with that, we would like to conclude the session. Thank you so much, Devina ma'am and Shankar ji, for your gracious presence. It was a great presentation, great insight, so much to learn from your learnings and wisdom, and keep guiding us, keep delivering this sort of performance for our investors. And all of us are really giving you best of the best regards for your.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Likewise.
Vikas. Thanks
you,
for
Vikas.
giving us the opportunity. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you, Achin.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Bye.